about a week ago, there was a flippant end of the podcast comment from one of the Zacks at Worn and Wound that Watchville, an app which is super important to a bunch of us in the watch community, was about to have the plug pulled. I searched around trying to get some more information to confirm what at that point didn't feel like much more than a rumor. Well, anyway, it is now official. It's being shown on the site itself. Watchville is about to get shut down, is about to get a bullet in the head. Let's talk about what that means after the intro. Okay, so first off, I first put this on my channel about a week or so ago and was stunned at the number of people that came back and said, "What is Watchville?" I must admit, I always just presumed everyone knew. Now, I suspect some of those were in jest, but I got the feeling some people were really serious. Watchville was an aggregator site, pure and simple. Largely, it just brought together in one convenient place all the content being uploaded around watches from almost all of the really big heavy hitters in the industry. For a lot of people like myself, it was a daily, in fact, a more than daily dropping off point for me to get a sense of what was going on in the industry. Pop on the site first thing in the morning, see if anything news dropped, see if there's any interesting articles going on, go to work, come back later that evening, pop in, see if anything else changed. That was kind of my routine for the last couple of years, and certainly while I've been doing this as a YouTuber. And now with its death, that's all going to change. And for a little moment, there was an element of panic's the wrong word, but a sense of discombobulation. I'm not sure what I was going to do next. I've actually got an answer, and I'll share that with you because I think in some ways it's better than what we've got now. But right now, let's go in very quickly to some history of this site. Okay, so if you can see the screen, you'll know what I'm about to say. In 2014, Watchville was created by a serial entrepreneur IT guy with a Google background, Kevin Rose, bringing together what he knew from the IT web area with his love of watches, bringing everything together and representing it both for himself and the world really easily. In 2015, that Watchville combined with, was bought by, was part of an investment. However, I'm not sure what the details were with Hodinkee. So essentially, Hodinkee took over the running of Watchville, which on one level is kind of odd in that Watchville is largely media platform agnostic. It drags in feeds from Hodinkee's competitors. And so in some ways you would have thought that it made sense for Hodinkee to buy it and shut it down. But on the other hand, when you remember what it was that Hodinkee once tried to be, this community that sort of advanced all of the watch hobby, it made sense. And Ben Clymer, when he proudly announced the takeover, made a lot of that sort of plain. That this was a place to really enrich all of the watch hobby. And it was something that Hodinkee was happy to do, almost proud to do on behalf of all hobbyists. Well, that's clearly done now. Hodinkee has finished that little philanthropic exercise that was running for us and is now closing it down. Why? Well, it probably just makes sense. I mean, as I said earlier, Watchville, in a strange way, was a platform that promoted Hodinkee's commercial competitors and run by Hodinkee. It would have sucked in some resources. It would have taken some effort. They'd like to get rid of that cost. Probably minuscule effort and cost, but mainly it sort of, for every time it presented a Hodinkee review of a watch, it kind of presented an alternative that you could go to as well, which didn't really make sense. But on the other hand, there was a little part of me that always kind of loved that Hodinkee was continuing to do this. I did a video a couple of weeks ago about the death of Hodinkee and how it's really fundamentally changed, and that communitarian side that it's always tried to present has really been pushed further and further into the background. And I think you see that here, where Hodinkee is just saying right now, we are no longer part of the watch community. Rather, we're just a media outlet that presents to the watch community. Okay, so what am I going to do, and what would I recommend you guys do? Well, this is actually where I think that the death of Watchville was actually kind of a positive. It took me a little while to figure out, really all I need to do is set up my own RSS feed reader and then replicate what it did. Now, for those of you who don't know, I don't even know off the top of my head what RSS stands for. Someone will probably say it in the comments. But essentially, an RSS feed reader does what Watchville did. You open it up, you can set your own sort of channels or forums, feeds, whichever you want. You tell the feed reader what sort of keywords you're interested in. It will then run off and find all the websites, all the blogs, etc. that have that keyword, and then you can enter that in, create your own version of Watchville. I'm using Feedly. I found that really easy to use. At the free end, it certainly covers everything I need it to do. I might look at upgrading later because it helps me with the channel, but I'm not sure. Feedly, and there's a couple of others, might be good options for you if you're used to looking at Watchville and using that as a sort of aggregator rather than search around 20 or 30 different sites. Something like these RSS feed readers would be an excellent idea. And actually, when I started putting together my Feedly feed, I actually went from being a little bit sad to see the end of Watchville to actually being happy to see that it's gone. Whilst many of you might not have known what Watchville was, I certainly know from other comments that a lot of you, like me, get a lot, if not most of your news from or sort of via that feed. And it's as I've gone and put together my own feed through Feedly, I've realized just how restrictive that was. I've always known that there was a lot of other websites that I have gone to get information. But it was when I went through that process of sort of building the feed and putting in search details and realizing the sheer huge volume of the watch media landscape that Watchville was excluding. And for people like me that were using it as a crutch, maybe actively so, I became really, I really became aware of just how much I was being sort of funneled down one particular view. And secondly, I became quite happy that that crutch has been taken away. So for those of you who sort of, when I first put that rumor out and went, oh no, like I did, went, oh no, what are we going to do now? What I would say is Watchville's actually pretty easy to replace. And not only that, I think our watch enthusiasm, I think our hobby is better for it going. So I find myself at this point in a slightly odd position. On one hand, I'm a little saddened that Hodinkee has confirmed my idea that they are in fact now no longer part of the watch community. They are not one of us in any way, shape or form. Now, some of you are going to be saying that that was hopelessly naive to imagine that they ever were. Maybe, and this is just the sign of my naivety being ripped away. But I liked the idea that someone in Hodinkee saw themselves as part of us. And by killing Watchville, which makes eminent commercial sense, I totally get why a straight up commercial business would kill Watchville. It saddens me that Hodinkee are so obviously and openly embracing their idea. However, balancing that, I'm actually, as it turns out, happy that they did it, because it's revealed to me how much I was using it as a crutch. And even though I did try and go outside of Watchville, and I did have a number of searches I ran, it was still the one big aggregator I used. And now I've noticed just how much it was funneling me into very specific areas of the watch world, and that I'm actually now much happier using my Feedly feed as that one-off aggregator. And I'm wishing I'd probably done this years ago. So, like I said, it's an odd position when someone does something you'd rather they didn't, but then you're kind of glad that they did it. I'm not sure how I feel about that. So anyway, that is the situation with Watchville. If you never used it, congratulations, you're not missing out on anything. If you did use it and you're worried about what to do now, there are answers. Yeah, I'd be interested in your comments. What do you think about this? Does it make a difference? Do you feel the sort of conflicted the way I do? Yeah, let's have a discussion down below. I've been Pete McConville. This is my channel. If you want these sorts of discussions and want to be part of it, please like, subscribe, do all that sort of thing. You'll notice I always get involved in the comments. So if you leave a comment, there is every chance that we will have a conversation. See you later. Bye.